Okay, so we're learning truth 8, that community builds us, that we need each other to really do this thing right, to live to honor God. Let's see what Jesus had to say about it. In John 13, he said this, "So now I'm giving you a new commandment. Love each other. Just as I have loved you, you should love each other. Your love for one another will prove to the world that you are my disciples." Hopefully you're doing this as a group. You need to know that Jesus 2,000 years ago had his own small group. It was him and his disciples. And for 3 years, they walked around and did life together. And Jesus taught them and encouraged them. And now he's telling them this in John 13. Guys, love each other. What I've been doing for you, I want you to do for each other. Look at how Jesus said it in Matthew. A bunch of Pharisees, religious leaders at the time in the Jewish church, came to Jesus and asked him this question. They said this, "Teacher, what is the most important commandment in the law of Moses?" And Jesus replied, "You must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is equally important. Love your neighbor as yourself." And look at what Jesus says. He's talking to religious people. He said the entire law and all the demands of all the prophets are based on these two commandments. See, Jesus is doing an incredible thing here. He's summing up the entire Old Testament, the entire New Testament. He's summing it all up for these religious people. And here's what he was saying. Loving God is first. Love God, know him, get to know him, honor him with your life. But loving others is second. And they go together. They're totally connected. You can't love God and not love others. See, Jesus was modeling this in his own small group, and then he told us, make sure you do this. This is so important. Love God, live to honor him, but then you need to love others. That's the new command. In Galatians, it says it like this, "For you have been called to live in freedom, brothers and sisters, but don't use your freedom to satisfy your sinful nature, to just live this selfish life." He says, use your freedom to serve one another in love. And then he makes reference to Matthew 22. Look at what he says there. "For the whole law can be summed up in this one command. Love your neighbor as yourself." Now, he was talking to Christians, so they already knew the first one, right? They already knew the love God command. And hopefully you do too. Hopefully you've already put your faith in Christ and you're a Christian. Even if you're a brand new Christian, you've already got the love God part in your mind. Now you need to get the love others part in your mind. And this is what Paul is saying to the Galatians. Love your neighbor as yourself. This is the new command. Paul also said it to the Christians in Rome like this. "Owe nothing to anyone except for your obligation to love one another. If you love your neighbor, you will fulfill the requirements of God's law." See, don't make any mistake about it. We can't be fully obedient in isolation. It's not just about loving God. It's also about loving other people. Why don't you hit pause and talk about it?